A one, two, 1, 2, 3. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing today? Welcome back to another episode of the Zolian Podcast, brought to you by me, Yan. If you are interested in any of this content and you like what you see here today, subscribe, like, comment, share, and donate if you are so inclined. Thank you so much. Every little bit goes to helping the show out, making it better. All right, so let's begin. Let us talk about something a little controversial. I wanted to wait it out because I wanted I wanted it to be final. You know when you wait for something to be final and you're thinking to yourself, "Man, let me just hold on to this information and just hold out and make sure it is actually confirmed before I go forward." Yeah, this was one of those moments because when it comes to sales, anything can happen, anything can change, right? It's nothing's final until until the last bottom lines show up, until people start reporting their losses and gains, then it's over. So let's go ahead and get into it today. Let's talk about the Barnes and Nobles, the bookstores all around the country, the increasing bookshelves of manga and the decreasing bookshelves of comics. Yes, we were talking about wokeism. We're talking about all the woke materials and media out there that is permeating and destroying the marketplace when it comes to American material, Western material. Specifically in my case, it's fantasy. I've noticed that. The heydays of American fantasy being the big, marketable export from America is over, right? As far as the big megacorps are concerned, it's over. But that doesn't mean it's over for the indie side of things, the people who are self-publishing, like you and me and all that. I think it's one of those things where it's a two-sided coin. On one hand, if you're looking for the good old days, it's over. But on the other hand, you can create your own good old days, so that's a good thing too. But while that's happening, while we're building our own stuff up, it's fun to watch this, marketplace that we've talked about, that we said, hey, this is gonna happen, and these guys telling us it's not gonna happen. It's fun to watch them, suffer the pain and it's fun to watch it burn. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. It's fun to watch it burn. So let's get into it. So here's a quick story. Back in the day, manga selection was very small, right? It used to be, you had to go out of your way. In the very, very beginning, you had to go to video stores. You had to go to comic shops. Not even comic shops. I take that back. You had to go to, you had to go to a video store and go into the very back where the anime was like this tiny, right? And maybe you knew a guy, okay? We're talking about the 80s and the early 90s. You had to know a guy who knew a guy who could import that stuff, or they already had it imported and they're basically charging you 4x, 3x for what you're paying for, right? For what you normally would pay for. So and we're talking about, by the way, we're talking about untranslated, okay? We're not talking about this is translated. This is untranslated raw comics, okay? And I knew a couple people who bought that stuff. That's why I know about this. Is I would see them being in pain in the early to mid 90s, like, yo, I've just paid my entire savings. This is the kids, right? Allowances. Yo, I just spent my entire allowance on this book. and it was regular Shonen Jump stuff, like the anthology books, right? They're not they're the paperback, newspaper versions, right? You wouldn't get a full manga, you know what I mean? So that was hard to looking back, it's just sad. You're like, man, these guys got ripped. And that's what happens when something's rare. When something's rare and it's hard to get, it's very much so a situation where you are paying premium prices, right? That's just the way it goes. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just telling you what it is, right? And so back then, it was a novelty to have that kind of thing. It was very rare. People wouldn't just run into it every now and again, right? So So as a result, it's natural that you would see, the adaptation of this stuff being very small. It's like a trial run. They're giving it a trial run. They want to see if it's gonna sell, if it's gonna come off the shelves. Eventually, I would see game shops hold that stuff. The stores that would hold magic cards would have also, a graphic novel here or there. And unfortunately, again, that didn't decrease the price of the product. It actually increased the price of the product because more notoriety means there's going to be more demand. And so that's what you would have. And when you go to a bookstore back in the day, there would be like three, four, maybe five manga titles out there. It wouldn't be a lot. Unless you lived in a city that was extremely in the know about that material, like if it was maybe a store in California that could easily import the stuff, that has connections to Japan or Japanese people importing that stuff, then you would probably have a decreased price. But this stuff came out at a premium, okay, and so you wouldn't see it everywhere. And again, it's like a whole other world now looking back, and so that's what you had. Nowadays, this is the comic book section. This is normal right here. This is like the Uno reverse card of what we had back in the day. This is what we have today. Now let's ask ourselves this question. This is an actual picture someone took, and I was just like, bro, come on. Now how did we get here? Well, a lot of things happen. This, for example, this comic book section for example, was replaced fully by manga, right? Most stores, they know what their sales are. They know, like, straight up, hey, it's A B C D E F G. This is what we have. We sold 10 books of comics, and we sold 500 books or 300 books of manga. That's how we got here. Stores started to realize the disparity. They're like, oh, we're getting wrecked in these comic book purchases. Nobody wants this woke stuff. This is not what we were sold. We were told this is going to sell. That's why we made the orders. Or we were told this was going to sell. That's why Barnes and Noble corporate, pulled this down for us. They would bring it down for us. They shipped it for us. And we were told that it would be okay. It would be fine. We were pretty much guaranteed. And that's kind of like the problem with corporations, is like the people running the actual operation itself are woke. And so as a result, now you have this weird distortion of reality of, oh, this is what's selling, and then this is what we would like to sell. Like, they mix the two. They conflate the two. It's like this weird mental jujitsu that they're trying to do, where they're trying to do this magic trick of, like, let's take what we think is gonna, what we hope would sell, and and what we know will sell, and we mix it up, and hopefully they'll accidentally buy the woke books, which is such a misnomer. Like, people are so ridiculous. They really think that, and that's how dumb they think we are, and that's how we got here. The unfortunate reality when it comes to the manga selection now is it's only going to get bigger. Okay, it's only going to get bigger because people are waking up, and when people wake up, they start talking, and when people start talking, then you have the influx of new buyers, right, as opposed to old buyers. And I knew this was coming even before COVID. I knew this was coming because when you're at home, you pay more attention. If you don't have like a job to go to every day, commute to go to every day, you're gonna start paying more attention to the things around you that's happening. Unfortunately, as a result of that, people were people were silently moving with their wallets. You know what I mean? People were seeing this and they said, you know what? Actually, this book isn't that good. This book is not so good. Let me try another book. And that ends up, escalating the problem, the quote unquote, the problem where people wake up, right? It's ironic that the books are called, they're called woke books, but people are waking up to the woke books. So what does that mean? Do they go back to sleep? I don't know. There is, all I can say is RIP these woke stores, man. There's some bookstores out there that are only hold woke books, and oh man, it is not pretty. So what happens next? Well, it's a corporate collapse. A lot of these corporations are resizing as we speak. A lot of the corporations are looking at their woke properties, their woke revisionings, and they're scrapping it. I know the Transformers non-binary thing that happened. That was from produced about what, a year or 2 years ago. Now I guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee you, but I'm pretty sure within the next 2 years you won't see such an influx of woke content, especially when it comes to gender, maybe race. We'll see. I don't know. That race stuff always comes up, but the gender stuff, definitely they notice a trend of sales diving because people don't want to deal with this stuff. There's nothing more annoying than people talking about genitalia or weird stuff in their fantasy books, in their sci-fi books, in their escapism books. Like, nobody wants to do that. Anybody who's sexually healthy is just trying to read a book and be done. They want to escape into a world and be done. It's the people who they have this weird damage about them that want to mix the two, that want everybody to be mixed into it with it. It's like, no, how about you buy your whatever weird stuff you want to buy, keep it to yourself, that's fine. But the rest of us just want to go our own way and read our own stuff. Thank you. Don't put your own stuff in our stuff. Like, that's the thing. People know. They know it's infringing on people's rights. It's infringing on people's personal space because they wouldn't put it in that property if it wouldn't do that, right? They know it invades your mind when they do that. It's almost like they don't have self-confidence. It goes back to that self-validation again, that argument I talk about where it's these people don't have confidence in their own beliefs. If they did, they wouldn't have a need to shove it in everybody's faces. If you're confident in your lifestyle or whatever, then you just do it in your own private home or whatever and move forward, right? For example, if I like to wear red socks or black socks, I'm not going to be shoving my red or black socks in your face every day. I won't even mention it. Who knows what socks I wear? That sounds really weird when I say that now. Now everyone's like, what kind of socks does he wear? But that's just an example. You know what I mean? This self-validation, it's evident in your movement, right? You move with it. It doesn't have to do with, you saying it. It's you actually moving with it. Actions speak louder than words. And these are the actions of people who are not confident. And I'm talking about specifically the people in the system doing it, right? These are not the corporate types that are like, we're trying to make sales. The corporate types that are just trying to make sales, they probably retired. I noticed of a high increase. We talked about that in the Rugathon video over 2 years ago, where I talked about people rugging everything. But yeah, that was something I noticed for sure. The next thing that's going to happen, obviously, aside from just the corporate collapse, is the corporate wastelands. We're going to start seeing more corporate wastelands, more junk, all these things being discovered. I mean, look at these magic cards being dumped in. Like, I heard it was over 200,000 cards, which I think it was valued at 5 million. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. It could have increased since then. But people were finding like full blown boxes of sealed product too, not just this stuff. But I was hearing about sealed product, which I don't know where you would even find it. I bet you they're gone. By the way, I bet you they're gone. I bet you somebody took the boxes of unsealed of unopened content, because that's just free money basically. Whether it's legal or not, that's a whole other story. But people are doing it. They know what people know. There will be demand for those things, and not because, again, this is for a whole other reason. The woke stuff, it wasn't gonna sell in the stores. But if it's a sealed product that nobody can get to, it's a mystery what's inside, right? That gambling aspect, that gotcha aspect, that it's very much like crypto. It's a gamble. Nobody knows anything. It's just an experiment, right? That FOMO kicks in, so people will probably buy it in the black market. So in conclusion, I don't think it's over yet. I don't think we've hit the bottom yet of the marketplace. I don't think that the woke stuff is gonna be quote unquote the end yet. I don't think it's over yet. I think there needs to be this is, I call, false bottom. We need more wreckage. We need more. It sounds terrible when I say that. I'm sorry, but we need more. We need more. There needs to be more. There's going to be a lot more before it bottoms out. And once it does bottom out, it will be a moment of like clarity. Like, wow, look at how much stuff was, being done, right? You are going to see a lot more of this stuff, and we're going to be a lot more awake to what's happening out there. And I think, and what's going to end up happening is there's going to be some shocking moments for us, and there's going to be some moments that, confirm everything we've ever thought. Like, oh yeah, that happened. It finally was true. It was real. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that are happening behind closed doors that we're not aware of yet, but it will come into light. And I think at that point we will have hit the bottom with the woke stuff, and it will be kind of over. I think woke stuff will kind of always try to seep in just because of the people. It's a people problem. It's not a necessarily a corporate problem. It's a people problem. Until they hire the right people, right, for the job, you're going to start seeing woke stuff all the time until those people either are fired, leadership gets changed over, they have a new mandate of what their goals are, and their new reformations happen. That's when you start to see the woke stuff start to go away. I think the young people waking up, the Zoomers waking up to it, and like a lot of reports coming out saying that these kids are not receptive to the woke stuff is a very big white pill for me, very big hopeful pill for me, because I think that means that the next group of young people will probably raise people who are aware of this stuff and are pretty much impervious to that kind of marketing. We'll see. Anyways, let me know what you think about this whole thing. Give me 1 second here. There we go. What do you think? That's the most important thing. What do you think about all this? Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments. Have a great day. God bless you, and see you next time.